Hey everybody, it's TNT and welcome back to Dynamite Designs. It has been a while. How have you been? Really? Are you taking care of yourself? How's your mental health? How much water have you drank today? Go drink your water. But in all seriousness, yes, it has been quite a while since I've posted. So on top of a crazy insane work schedule, a couple of health concerns, but everything's all good now, we adopted Kona. So he is one, he's a rescue. You'll be seeing a lot of him in the videos. A couple friends convinced me to start him his own Instagram because he was just so cute. So if you want to follow, I will have his Instagram down below. He is at Kona the Macchiato. And he's just a cute little boy. Hi. So for this next video, I actually started this back in October. Eagle-eyed viewers will be able to spot the supplies sitting on my desk in the Bob Ross painting video because I couldn't be bothered to clean everything off of my desk. So this project is going to be a jacket inspired by the jacket that Harley Quinn wore in Birds of Prey. I am aware that it has taken me so long to get this done that the Suicide Squad, because it's
The Suicide Squad,
it has already come out, but we're still going to be doing the project from Birds of Prey. I didn't want to do an exact copy of her jacket from the film just because I don't see myself cosplaying that outfit anytime soon, and I don't really feel like I would wear that out. So I kind of wanted to do more of an inspired jacket instead of the actual thing. I didn't want to do the whole rainbow of colors for the sleeves, so I'm kind of sticking with more metallics for this project. So I'm going to be using gold, silver, and metallic black along with the caution tape. I did consider doing the clear vinyl like she has in the film for the vest portion of the jacket. However, I have way too many jackets, particularly black jackets. So I plan on recycling one of my black jackets and turning it into this one. So right now I have 4 black jackets in my closet. The first one is one of my absolute favorites, and it is my patch jacket that I've kind of made. I've had patches from friends, from cons I've gone to, from concerts, and different pins that I've just collected over the years, and I'm still always adding stuff to this jacket, so I do not want to change this one. Second jacket I have is just a fashion motorcycle jacket. It has some really good stitching along the sleeves that I enjoy, and it has a option to zip a hoodie portion into the jacket as well. This one I considered, but it's a little tight, so I want to be able to wear more underneath it. The third jacket is mainly what I wear when I'm on the motorcycle. It's more of a bomber style where I can have it zipped all the way up and clasped at the neck. It keeps me really warm, keeps the wind off. This one I considered, but I really didn't want to use this one because I do use it as a functioning motorcycle jacket. The fourth jacket is the one that I decided to use because I mainly don't wear this one as much. There are a couple of reasons why. One is that the sleeves tend to be a little too tight and short, especially when I'm raising up my arms. Also, the belt along the side doesn't like to stay very well because there's no side belt loops, so I thought it'd be really great to add those on as well while we are altering the sleeves. The first step was using a seam ripper to remove the sleeves. I pinned the old sleeve to some netting and cut that out in order to make a base for the new sleeve. Next, I cut out 2 small strips of fabric using the old sleeve in order to create new belt loops. Now it was time to work on the fringe, starting with the caution tape. Using a cutting mat, a quilter's ruler, and a utility knife, I cut the caution tape into individual strips, making sure to cut them all the same size. I then repeated that 130 times. To make the fringe, I used the utility knife to cut strips down the caution tape, starting about an inch away from the top. I originally cut it into 1/4-inch strips to match the tinsel that you'll see shortly. However, that made it really difficult to read the caution on it, so the second time I did it, I actually started doing it in 1/2-inch strips. And that made it not only go faster, but it was easier to read the caution on the tape. Once all the caution tape strips were done, it was time to move on to the tinsel. These were just photo backgrounds that I picked up off of Amazon in gold, black, and silver. I quickly learned that exact measuring and using a utility knife wasn't going to work. So about the length of the caution tape, I just ended up using a pair of scissors and cutting all the way through. I repeated that for the entire length of the gold, the black, and the silver. This was the point where it sat on my desk for 9 months. So now that we're all caught back up to the present, let's keep going. I tried a couple different methods to see what would work best to turn the tinsel into strips of fringe, and everything was just incredibly tedious. But the best one I found was just using strips of Scotch tape, laying it out, and then pressing individual pieces of tinsel down onto the tape. Yes, this took forever, and I don't really recommend it. I ended up using it in the order of black, silver, and gold the entire way down the length of the tape. Once the first row was done, I repeated these steps in order to make a second row of tinsel. And when that row was done, I folded over the top of the tape to keep everything in place. I then placed the caution tape strips on top and ran the whole thing through the sewing machine. Just make sure that you know if you're going to be sewing through tape, it is going to ruin your needle, so just make sure that you have extras to replace it when you're done. I repeated this process until I'd used up all of the tinsel. So that took forever, and I never want to do that ever again. I will say it was super satisfying watching those piles of like tinsel get smaller and smaller. I did end up having about 10 pieces of caution tape left over and not enough tinsel fringe, so I'm really hoping that I'm not going to need those because I really don't want to have to cut anymore. I just want to be done. So the next step is going to be putting the fringe on the sleeves. I think I'm going to have to mark out where my seam allowance is to make sure I don't catch any of that fringe in the seam allowance when I'm sewing it together. And then I think I'm going to be putting the fringes in rows about every ½ inch. I think that's going to give it enough kind of floof and to make sure that there's no netting showing underneath, but let's see how it goes.
We interrupt our program to bring you this important message.
You know I'm supposed to be filming right now, right? I'm supposed to be filming right now? I'm making that kind of hard.
And now back to your regularly scheduled program.
Because the netting was so sheer and flimsy, I ended up having to use a marker in order to mark out where the seam allowance was. I then pinned the first layer of fringe to the bottom of the sleeve using pins that I wasn't afraid to get ruined, and then stitched that on using a zigzag stitch. I repeated these steps, cutting off any of the extra and making sure to save it for later. I got about 3 rows in before I had a sudden realization. Well, it's about halfway through the first sleeve I realized that not only did I need those 10 extra pieces of caution tape, but after months of putting all of those fringe strips together, I only had enough for one sleeve, and my heart just broke. Unfortunately, I'm on a time crunch at this point and have to have this done. So it was either just do one sleeve and film from the side to make it look like I was done, but that felt like cheating, or scrap the project that I've been working on for a year at this point. So what I decided to do was actually cut the sleeves in half. Because the fringe is so long, I'm hoping that it will go all the way down to my wrist, so it won't just look like a half sleeve, but that way I can split the fringe between the 2 sleeves and make a completed garment. After a short adventure with the seam ripper, I shortened the sleeves and added the fringe, this time an inch away from each other to help save on fringe. Once I got closer to the top of the sleeve, I found it was much easier to put on individual pieces of caution tape. Once I had placed all the horizontal rows that I could, I used 2 rows of fringe to completely cover the arm side. Once that was stitched on came what I think was the
hardest part of the whole jacket, which was trying to stuff all of the tinsel inside the sleeve to be able to close it. But after lots of fussing, I had the weirdest looking sleeve I had ever made. Before attaching the sleeves, I needed to add on those extra belt loops. Taking those fabric pieces from earlier, I folded under 1/4 of an inch and stitched along both sides. Then it was just attaching it at the top and the bottom. The very last steps were pinning on the sleeves and stitching them on. And here's the final result.
And it is done. Overall, I'm very happy with it. It is kind of loud, so something to be prepared for if I wear it out, but it's really fun, and I'm happy that I stuck with it and didn't give up on it, because there were times I don't want to work with tinsel ever again. But it was a very fun project. Thank you guys for sticking around. Please like and subscribe to make sure that you stay up on all of the new videos that I plan on posting, especially for Halloween. And thanks again for sticking around. Bye guys.